pharyngeal nephridia. The second one is integumentary nephridia. Third one, septal nephridia, and fourth one is opening of the nephridium. So how this pharyngeal nephridia, they are located in the region of pharynx in segment 4, 5, and 6. Integumentary nephridia occurring from the segment 7 to the last segment of the body. And from segment that is 7 to 15, that is in Parker and Haswell. And in some book it is 7 to the last. But in Parker and Haswell, this is very famous book in taxonomy and as well as systematic biology. So they, as per this book, it is 7 to 15, and septal nephridia located on the intersegmental septum from the segment 15 to 16 to the last. And opening of the nephridia, pharyngeal nephridia open into the pharynx and buccal chamber. So this is the pharyngeal or enteronephric. This is the opening of nephridium is based on the opening of the nephridia. Where it is opening, they are divided into three types. One is enteronephric, exonephric, and this pharyngeal or enteronephric, only enteronephric and exonephric. So this is the pharyngeal nephridia open in the pharynx and buccal chamber. They are called pharyngeal nephridia. In some book, they are also called enteronephric. In integumentary nephridia open into the exterior region, or exterior means outside the body, then this is called exonephric. Exo means outside. And those who are opening inside, it is called enteronephric. Remember, in a simple language, those nephridia opens, those open into the internal side, they are called enteronephric. Those on the external side, they are called exonephric. And septal nephridia open into the intestine, they are also enteronephric. So this pharyngeal one, in some books, suppose in Kotpal, this the Burma Agarwal, there are so many, and Parker as well. So in one book, they are divided into two types, that is exonephric and enteronephric. In some books, they are divided into three types, pharyngeal, exo, and entero. Because in some books, this pharyngeal one also included under the category enteronephric because they are also open inside the body. So whatever you feel, it is better to divide into exonephric and enteronephric. Now, first time we will discuss this pharyngeal nephridia. Occur in the form of three paired tufts. Here you can see this is the pharyngeal nephridia. They are the three pairs. Here you can see these are leaf-like structures. So you can see there are three pairs. 1, 2, 3. They are present in the fourth, fifth, and sixth segment of the earthworm. So fourth, fifth, and sixth. So three pairs. Okay. So occur in the form of three paired tufts in segment 4, 5th, and 6th. Each tuft contains hundred of coiled tubules without nephrostomes. What is nephrostomes? We'll discuss later. These segments also contain blood glands and are also excretory. These blood glands are also excretory in nature. Produce these blood glands. What is the function of these blood glands? They produce blood corpuscles and hemoglobin. They are about the size of septal nephridia but closed without nephrostome. Consist of a short straight lobe. This is the septal nephridia. Here you can see this is the septal nephridia. This blood, we are talking about the blood glands. They are the small blood glands are also present. They are about to the size of the septal nephridia. These blood glands, and they are also present in these tufts of the pharyngeal nephridia. We are now only talking about these tufts. Okay, this is the pharyngeal nephridia. So they are the three pairs present in fourth, fifth, and sixth segments of the animals. And these segments also these tufts also contain blood glands which are excretory in nature. They produce blood corpuscles and hemoglobin. Their size is, this blood gland size is almost equal to the septal nephridia. Here you can see this is the small septal nephridia, but without nephrostome. Consists of a short straight lobe and spirally twisted lobe with ciliated walls. Tubules from each nephridia join and form a thick wall duct. Here you can see this is the each nephridia. Here this is the nephridia. Within the nephridium, this nephridium gum and joins together to form a thick walled duct. From each segment arise here ducts. Here you can see these are small ductula. Then they come to form a big one, and then these are the one pair is the big one. Now next we will discuss in detail. From the sixth segment, here you can see This is the tufts of pharyngeal nephridia of the six segment, six tufts open in the second segment of buccal chamber. Here you can see this here you can see these ducts come from the six tufts of pharyngeal nephridia, and these ducts come and open into the second segment in the buccal chamber. Here you can see. Similarly, the fifth one is here you can see. This is fifth one is in the third, and fourth open in the pharynx four. Here you can see. Fourth one is in pharynx four one. This four is four. Since open in the alimentary canal, pharyngeal nephridia are enteronephric. So they are also called enteronephric nephridia, I told you earlier, and as well as they are also called pharyngeal nephridia. But when you divide these two based on the exit of this nephridia, you can divide into enteronephric and exonephric. Those open the outside the body, they are exonephric. Those by open inside the body, they are enteronephric. And if pharyngeal nephridia open inside the body, they are called pharyngeal nephridia. May functions like the salivary glands. Their function, what is the function of their function is salivary glands producing enzymes like amylase and peptidase. Amylase की क्या function होता है? Can anyone tell me? Amylase की function क्या होता है? किसी को मालूम है? What is the function of amylase plus 11 पढ़े? या peptidase की function क्या होता है? बताओ.
Start digestion, sir.
Good, good. And amylase peptidase की digestion की function क्या है?
Peptides for protein.
Okay, good, very good. Excellent. So, since open in alimentary canals, they are enteronephric. Their function like salivary glands produce enzymes like amylase and peptides. So, this is a typical nephrostome found in earthworm. Here you can see there how they are the structure of a nephrostome. There is a lower lip. This is the lower lip, and here you can see this is the central wall. This is the lower lip. This is the marginal cells. These cells. And this is the narrow tube. Here they are the funnel-like structure. You can see bottom of the funnel. They are these nephrostomes are the funnel-like structure. We'll discuss in the next slide. Very
Excuse
so
me,
here,
sir, your voice is not clear.
is it clear
Somewhere
now?
it is lagging.
Is it clear now? Side of the body wall from the segment 7 to the last. There are about 200 to 250 in each segment. This integumentary criteria. And this particular region, they are present almost 2000 to 2500. This is the vitelium region. They are small, V-shaped, enclosed and without a nephrostome. Each consists of a straight loop and a twisted loop with ciliated canals. Open directly to the exterior. This integumentary nephridia opens exterior and they called exonephric. The third one is the septal nephridia, situated from segment 15 to 16 to the end. Each segment has two rows of nephridia in front and two behind. There are about 40 to 50 nephridia in front and the same number behind. Each row arranged in a semicircle around the intestine. So, अरे बाप रे, कोई वहां पे बस स्टेशन में
आवाज आ रही है.
all these black tracts are serrated tract. Then the inner loop and straight loop. Outer loop is the apical part of the funnel. So this is typical structure of septal nephridia. कभी कभी आप लोगों की एग्जाम में ये आ जाता है, जस्ट ये सेप्टल नेफ्रिडिया की स्ट्रक्चर बना दीजिए, 5 मार्क की क्वेश्चन हो जाता है. कुछ नहीं डालने की जरूरत नहीं होता है आपको. जस्ट यू ड्रॉ ए डायग्राम ऑफ दिस पिक्चर. उसको आपको 5, अगर कुछ लिखने की भी जरूरत नहीं, you draw this diagram you will get 5 out of 5. So ये बहुत ही कॉमन क्वेश्चन होता है, ये जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है. Septal nephridia is the representative type. Each consists of nephrostome. It is a funnel shaped and lies in the coelom. Has an upper lip. Coelom तो आप लोगों को समझ में आता है. Coelom ये होता है जैसे हमारा पेट में भी coelom क्या होता है. कभी किसी ने अगर आप देखे होंगे कभी कोई एनिमल सपोज चिकन और कुछ काटने के बाद या फिश भी काटने के बाद पेट में जो खाली पार्ट होता है उसको सीलम बोलते हैं. जो आर्टवर्म आप डिसेक्ट आउट करोगे तो आपको जो एम्प्टी स्पेस होता है इंटरनल स्ट्रक्चर में उसको सीलोम बोलते हैं बायोलॉजिकल भाषा लैंग्वेज में. So the leaves are made up of ciliated marginal cells. The leads into intercellular canal through the central cell. Then there is a neck. Here you can see this is the neck region. The nephrostomes leads to a short neck. The neck is lined by a ciliated cells and connects the nephrostome to the body. So here is the mouth. Then there is a small neck, and this neck connect to the main body. Body of nephrostome. Now we will discuss the whole body of the nephrostome. The consists of two parts: a short straight lobe and a long coiled twisted lobe. The twisted lobe consists of a proximal limb and a distal limb and apical part. Here you can see this twisted lobe. This is the twisted lobe. So here you can see this is the apical part and this is a short lobe and long coiled twisted lobe. Here you can see this is the twisted lobe. This is the apical part and distal part spiral around each other. There are four canals in the straight lobe, three in the lower part of the coil lobe and two in the upper apical part. Here you can see this is the upper apical part. Two canals of straight lobe, the neck and terminal duct are ciliated. These two are ciliated. This black part joins the terminal duct with septal excretory canal. Here you can see this is the big diagram. Here you can see this is the opening. This is the TS of this particular region. Here you can see this is the upper lip, then mouth. This is the mouth regions. Here you can see this. Here you can see this one is mouth regions. Then marginal cells, lower lip, central cell, and this is the ciliated epithelium. This one. Then the neck and nephridial tubule. This is arrangement of septal nephridia. Here you can see this is a beautiful diagram. Again, here is the dorsal blood vessels. Then you can this diagram is from your biomarker book. This is a ventral vessel, subdural vessel, terminal nephridial duct, septal excretory canal, and septal nephridia. Now excretion. The summary of this excretion is nitrogenous waste products are excreted in the form of ammonia or urea. Okay, uric acid not formed in earthworms. Remember these things. यूरिक एसिड आपको लेस जितना इवोल्यूशन ही आप इवॉल्व होंगे तब यूरिक एसिड मिलता है. नाइट्रोजनस वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स आर एसिड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एमोनिया और यूरिया. इस वजह से क्या होता है जो आर्थवर्म आपको एग्रीकल्चर में क्यों यूज किया जाता है बिकॉज दे रिलीज यूरिया एंड एमोनिया एंड दे आर गुड बोथ यूरिया एंड एमोनिया आर गुड फॉर एग्रीकल्चर. दैट्स व्हाई आपको आर्थवर्म में फार्मिंग कल्चर जो है आजकल बहुत ही कॉमन है हर जगह स्पेशली गार्डन में किचन गार्डन के लिए बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. Uric acid is not found in earthworms. Healthy, well-fed worms exceed 73% ammonia and about 5% urea. Okay, 73% ammonia and about 5% urea. Starved worm exceed about 90% ammonia and 85% urea. Under normal circumstances, it is 40% urea and 20% ammonia and 50% others. Besides excretion, the nephridia are also osmoregulatory in function like our kidney. Nephridia are abundantly supplied with blood vessels. Their gland cells extract excess of water and nitrogenous waste from the blood. Septal nephridia also eliminate excretory material from the ciliary fluid. Integumentary nephridia being exonephric directly discharge excretory material to outside. Septal and pharyngeal nephridia being endonephric discharge into gut lumen from where they are discharged to the exterior to the gut. Now we will discuss the reproductive system. Next. So this is the reproductive system of an earthworm. Earthworms are hermaphrodites. You know both types of those organisms which both reproductive organs present in a single individuals, both ovary and testes, or the male and female reproductive organs in a single organisms, they are called hermaphrodite organisms. So earthworm is an hermaphrodite organism. Post fertilization is the rules because here you can see this is the ovary in the single organism, and this is the ovary and this is the testis. So in between these other organs, both male and female oviduct, funnel, vast differences, we will discuss one by one. First, we will discuss just consider both testes and ovary present in the single organisms, and that's why they are called hermaphrodites. Both male and female reproductive organs are present in the single organism. That's why they are called hermaphrodite organisms. Cross fertilization is the rose because they are protein. Because what is the protein? Generally, this term is used in the plant science, but we also use in the lower animals too. Proteinous means this male reproductive organs come to maturity before the female. आपका टेस्टिस की जो मेच्योरिटी है वो अर्लियर हो जाता है फीमेल की ओवारी की मेच्योरिटी परसेंट. These are called protein cross, and because of the position of the genital apparatus. So you can see this is the first one is the testis, and second, the lower part has the ovary. No asexual reproduction occurs. Remember this. In some plants, though they are hermaphrodites, asexual reproduction also observed, even in the some lower animals. In some lower animals, they have hermaphrodite, they are the hermaphrodites, but some asexual reproduction also present. But in case of in Annelida, remember this, no asexual reproduction is observed. They are expressed in earthworm. The male reproductive system is elaborate, consisting of usual structures. The female system is relatively simple. The female reproductive systems in Annelida is relatively simple than the male. The male reproductive. Now we'll discuss the male reproductive systems. The male reproductive system here you can see the testis sac, seminal vesicles, semiductal funnel, then vas differentia, excretory glands, and prostate glands. So one by one we will discuss the testis and testis sacs. Here this is the testis and testis sacs. These are the testis sacs. Here you can see this is the funnel-like structures. They are the testis sacs. So there are two pairs of testes in segment 10 and segment 11. Each is situated on the posterior face of the septum, that is 9 by 10 and 10 by 11 segments in the border part of the segment. Each testis consists of a finger-like lobules containing spermatogonia. The testes are well developed and functional in the early part of life and degenerate as the worm ages. In each segment, the testes are enclosed in a bilobed fluid-filled sac, that is the testis sac. Here you can see this is the testis sac. There is one testis sac in segment 10 and one testis sac present in the segment 11. Behind each testis and in testis sacs, behind each testis and testis sac are paired funnel-shaped structures, the spermidocele or spermatic funnel. The margins of the funnels are folded and ciliated. Here you can see the funnel-shaped structures and they are ciliated, folded and ciliated. Here you can see. These connect the testis sac to the seminal vesicle. This here you can see this connect to the seminal vesicle. Now we come to the seminal vesicle. What is seminal vesicle? There are two pairs of seminal vesicles present, one pair and the smaller one pair and the smaller one in the segment 11 and other larger pair in the segment 12. The smaller seminal vesicle in segment 11 is enclosed in the testis sac. Testis sac, here this is the smaller one, testis sac. And while the larger one in the segment 12, this one we are talking about the larger one lies in the coelom. The testis sacs are connected to the seminal vesicles by a short duct. Now the next one is the vas difference. Here you can see this is the vas difference. Each of the spermatical funnel leads into a thin duct and the vas difference. The two closely placed vas difference on each side run posteriorly and join posteriorly duct in the segment 18. Here you can see this is the segment 18. Now the prostate gland. The next important after the vas difference when this connect is the excretory gland, and this is then the common prostatic and spermatic duct. This one, and this is the most important part, the prostate gland. Though these are very not like humans, this is a very advanced stage prostate gland, but this for mammalian system. But from earthworm we observe the prostate gland has evolved. Prostate gland, these are paired, large, irregular, glandular, not regular, like in mammals or birds or other animals, they are regular, but in case of annelids, they are not like irregular. They are irregular granular structures situated in segments 16 to 17 to 20 to 21. From here, from it starts from here 16 to 17 to 20 to 21. From each side there is a prosthetic duct with joints the pulse difference of their side. The common prosthetic spermatic ducts open separately by the male genital folds on the segment 18. All these things, this testis, sex, seminal vesicles, vas differentia, accessory gland, and prosthetic gland, they are the part of male sex organs. Then accessory glands, there are two pairs of accessory glands. These are small round structures. Here you can see this is the accessory gland. There are two pairs of accessory gland here, one pair, and another is one pair here. There are two pairs of accessory glands. These are small rounded structures situated in the segment 17 and 19. Okay, 17 and 19. Mm. They open by small ductulas on the two pairs of genital papilla. Now the next one is the sperm maturation. Then when you next after all these organs, how the sperms are matured in the case of male. The spermatogonia from the testes are shed into the testis sacs. Okay. From there, they pass to the seminal vesicle by small ducts. Spermatogenesis is completed in the seminal vesicles. Remember the seminal vesicles. Yeah. From here, this is the seminal vesicles. Okay. So spermatogenesis is completed in the seminal vesicle. Mature sperm pass back into the testis sacs. From here, via the spermatical funnel, they pass down into the vas deferens from where they are discharged to the male genital apparatus. Now the female reproductive system, and this is a typical structure of an ovary, of the earthworm ovary. Female reproductive system, there are paired lobulated structures beside the ventral nerve cord. They are also small size also. Remember this. Here you can see, if you can see, this is the female ovary. And this is a structure of this female ovary, how it looks like. They are situated in the segment 13 on the septum, between 12 and 13, almost in 13 minutes. If you dissect out, and you can observe it is in between the 12 and 13. The finger-like lobules are numerous, developing oogonia. These are all these colors. This is the ovarian lobules, this ova, and this is the septum. So oviduct, below each ovary is an ovarian funnel. The margins of the funnels are folded and ciliated. This leads into short ciliated oviducts. The two oviducts cover it and open the exterior by a single median female genital apparatus on segment 14. Now this spermatica. There are four pairs. A pair each pair in segment 6, 7, 8, and 9. Each consists of a flask-shaped ampulla that leads into the neck. From the neck arises a small diverticulum. In peritoneum, that is in earthworm, it is believed that the diverticulum stores the sperms. The spermatica open in the exterior through intersegmentally arranged pair ducts that open ventrolaterally. These ducts are situated between the 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 8 to 9 segments. Now the mating, the final stage. Once you have the sperm, you have the eggs, then the next stage is the mating. Mating occurs in the rainy seasons. Mating pairs come together, making contact ventrally and facing opposite direction. Okay, facing opposite direction. In this position, the male genital apparatus are opposite to the spermatical apparatus of the mating partner. The genital apparatus becomes raised papillae-like and are inserted into the spermatical apparatus, and sperms are deposited in the spermatica. This is a reciprocal process. Both individual receiving sperms in the spermatica at the same time. मीन्स जब ये आपका मेटिंग होता है, मेटिंग के बाद दोनों ऑर्गेनिज्म में आपका फर्टिलाइज होता है. रिमेंबर दिस. ऐसा नहीं है एक फीमेल ऑर्गेनिज्म में एक मेल नहीं है, दोनों की एक्सचेंज होता है स्पर्म और ओवम. Next stage is the cocoon formation. Starts after mating when the ovary is mature. The platelet segment has three types of gland cells. Mucus secreting glands producing mucus. Three types of cells. Remember these things. This is important. Mucus secreting cells, cocoon secreting glands, and albumin glands. So this mucus secreting glands producing mucus, cocoon secreting glands secrete the walls of the cocoon, and albumin glands producing albumin in which the eggs are deposited. So albumin glands contain albumin secreting cells, cocoon secreting cells, and mucus secreting cells. The gradient secreted by the cocoon secreting glands hardens the albumin is deposited. The one begins to withdraw, and as the blood passes over the female genital, eggs are deposited. While moving over the spermatica, the sperms are shed as the vehicle moves over the anterior part of the end close. Now, in the last part, this is not exactly in your syllabus, but this is important to know in the in present time. This is vermicomposting. This is a very important part of agricultural science. एंड व्हाट इज बार्मी कंपोस्टिंग फॉर बार्मी कंपोस्टिंग में क्या होता है आपको एग्रीकल्चर में आजकल इसको ये दिया जाता है बिकॉज दे प्रोड्यूस दे आल्सो फर्टाइल द लैंड मेन काम होता है जो एमोनिया यूरिया दे रिलीज द एमोनिया इन यूरिया जिसकी वजह से प्लांट की ग्रोथ काफी होता है फर्टिलिटी जो सॉइल की फर्टिलिटी है दे इंक्रीज द सॉइल फर्टिलिटी so internationally three species of earthworms have received a claim for vermicomposting. They are Acinia poetria and Eudrillius eugenia, which are exotic. They are not in Indian origin. And Pheronix excavatus, which is endemic. This is in our Indian origin. A crate like this can hold population of 1500 adult and 3000 to 5000 this Pheronix excavatus. They are also present in different agricultural institute and lots of research is going on this particular aspect. If you go to the IARI in Delhi, you will observe these types of work. So there are lots of labs working on this particular aspect. Thank you, friends. Do you have any questions?